I want to ask each one of you a simple question. Do you feel US has the fortitude to halt its arms sales to Saudi Arabia, which is worth billions of dollars? While you think about it, let me give you a quick background to the partnership between the two nations, which is riddled with dichotomies to say the least. When Saudi scaled down oil production recently in the OPEC Plus, US went all guns blazing in its response, saying there will be consequences, which basically hinted at halting security assistance for the Saudi kingdom. But just few days later, the same Saudi kingdom reached out to the US claiming that Iran might attack the Arab kingdom, and this is how US responded.
We are concerned about the threat picture. We won't hesitate to act in defense of our interests and our partners in the region.
Consequences for Saudi have suddenly become concerns. Yes, US has vowed to respond for Saudi Arabia, the same country that it threatened for cutting down oil production. What is going on between US and Saudi Arabia? Are they friends or are they foes? Let's talk about why US and Saudi can't live with or without each other. I'm Shivan Chanana. Let's get to the point. You see, the Saudi-US relationship relies on the principle of energy for security. Washington has since the 1940s provided billions of dollars in military and security aid to Saudi Arabia. And in exchange, Saudi provided a reliable supply of oil to US. Both nations have heavily benefited from each other. The Arab states jointly launched a surprise attack on Israel on 6th of October 1973. Israel was totally caught off guard. But US made the decision to aid the Israeli military, and Israel was finally able to regain its lost ground. This angered Saudi Arabia, and the Arab members of the OPEC cut off oil exports to the US. Now, the oil shock caught US off guard, causing an economic downturn. Oil prices nearly quadrupled, hurting America and the world. Now, this is one of the first times that Saudi Arabia realized it could bring US to its knees, and US realized just how heavily it relied on the kingdom for its energy needs. 9/11. It was the deadliest terror attack in US history. It's general knowledge by now that 15 of the 19 hijackers involved in 9/11 were Saudi citizens, some allegedly with links to the Saudi government. Now, US-Saudi ties were obviously strained after 9/11 for some time at least. The FBI carried out Operation Encore to investigate Saudi Arabia's links with the 9/11 attack. But families of 9/11 victims are still awaiting the results of that report. From subsequent presidents to FBI bureaucrats, US ensured that the findings of those reports remained a state secret for national security concerns. And no points for guessing why. Donald Trump's red carpet welcome in Saudi Arabia after he became president in 2017 made it seem as if US and Saudi were inseparable. Now, it was the first leg of his first foreign trip since taking office, and he chose Saudi Arabia. The reason of the visit was simple: to sign the largest arms deal in world history. On May 20th, 2017, Trump signed the defense deal totaling $350 billion. Now, mind you, US said the deal was signed with Saudi to help deal with malign Iranian influence. US signed a huge arms deal, and Saudi received the arms it needed. The visit was also a huge show window to put Saudi enemies on notice of the kingdom's strong American backup. Again, both nations benefited. Jamal Khashoggi was a Saudi national and dissident journalist working as a columnist in the US. He visited the Saudi consulate in Istanbul and was never seen again. If reports are to be believed, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ordered Khashoggi's assassination. Now the question is, in spite of what happened with an American resident, did it stop the US from pursuing its interests with the kingdom? Now, just a few days after the CIA concluded that MBS had called the hit on Khashoggi, this is what then US President Donald Trump had to say. The United States intends to remain a steadfast partner of Saudi Arabia to ensure the interests of our country. Need I say more? fast forward to 2022, Saudi-led OPEC Plus took a call to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day. The decision left the US fuming, which was suffering from high oil prices caused by supply choke in the wake of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now, Saudi said that it was an economic move, but US President Joe Biden said Saudi has colluded with Russia for the oil cut.
We're going to react to Saudi Arabia, and they're doing a consultation when they come back, and we will take action.
Now, Iran and Saudi Arabia have been at loggerheads since long, but when it comes to OPEC Plus, they seem to be standing together. When threats came in from Iran, US vowed to respond for Saudi Arabia. Now, this could also be a way for US to threaten Iran for supporting the one nation which has quietly leveraged the OPEC Plus oil cuts to jam US in a corner. Now, I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia. I'm talking about Russia here. And don't forget, Iran is aiding Russia in Ukraine, and US has been pretty irked about it. So overall, Saudi Arabia and US have had an on-again, off-again kind of relationship. While their ties oscillate between hugs and punches, they do come together for their needs, and currently, they seem to be standing together to tackle Iran. So to put it mildly, there are mutual interests between the two nations, and the relationship status is, well, it's complicated. But I want to know, what is your take? The US was threatening Saudi Arabia with consequences recently over the oil cuts. But do you think US will really halt its arms sales to Saudi? Or will it not dare to? Let me know in the comments.